we got the urgent breaking news flash today about your hammy, right? Is there something going on with it?
Yeah.
Where are you at with that?
I'm good. It was just, I think it was more a matter of saying something. So when I'm, up here talking, I'm so excited for camp tomorrow that you see me not playing in camp tomorrow and be like, oh, what happened? But I'm good. Just a little bump in the road happens, but I'm on it. Already starting to take care of it. Already starting to feel better. So I'll be fine.
You won't play Monday, you don't think, in Vegas?
So.
That's what you held out for. So how about the summer? I know the result wasn't what you wanted, what the team wanted. I'm talking about for your the United States national team. But what about just the experience? You feel like you got better as a player?
Absolutely.
Being involved in that?
Yeah, and the one thing about it, really talented roster of guys, and pretty much every practice we were competing. So just, high-level games, quarters, whatever we were playing that day, opportunities to get better, opportunities to learn from really good coaching staff, and just play with guys that otherwise we wouldn't have the opportunity to play with. So definitely an overall really positive experience. Tons of great things to take away from it. Wish we would have won, but I'm grateful for it.
Is that the first time in an off-season you've kept things at a more competitive, intense level compared to what you've done in the past?
Yeah, definitely. And it was a pretty strong ramp up to play. We hit the ground running. We were competing. First couple of days of practice were definitely, high level. It was like a training camp of sorts when we were out in Vegas. And so it ramped us up to, kind of feeling like mid-season form. So when we got back, obviously you want to scale it down a little bit so you can ramp back up so you're not just kind of staying at that level all throughout, but it really felt like we were in season for that stretch.
How long did it take you to get back on a proper sleep schedule?
I kind of had a little bit of a calculated approach there. I stayed up the night we left Manila and then slept 11 of the 14 hours on the flight from Manila to LA. That put me on a decent sleep schedule, so it didn't mess me up too bad. I went back to Phoenix for a little bit. It wasn't too bad of an adjustment. I slept through the night, all good.
Was that self-taught? Was that a sleep coach telling you that? Like, how did you know to do that? Where
it was self-taught.
Yeah.
It was mostly self-taught. Maybe a little food poisoning kept me up that night too, but we won't even get into that.
And he was sitting in the middle seat on the way back. That's incredible. That's incredible.
But yeah, I made it through. That's the big thing.
Everyone believes that you and Mikal, two guys that have played together so many years already, both need to have big seasons for the team to do well. When you look at a guy like Mikal, we'll talk about him first.
Yeah.
It looks like he is right there on the cusp of being an all-star. He does everything. I mean, a lot of people think he's got the best contract in the sport for the amount of money that he makes and everything that he could do being a two-way player. What about Mikal, the growth that he's had, and you also feel like he's right there when it comes to being an all-star player now?
Yeah, I mean, God does everything, like you said, and on top of that is always available, and that, is huge. Everyday guy puts in the work. There's natural progression to it. Nothing about it was random. Nothing about the last half of last season was random. It was all work, and it wasn't just all ups. He had to fight, and there were days last year, back in Phoenix, a lot of guys injured. He had to take on a large role, so he was able to use those opportunities to continue to grow his game, continue to figure out where shots come from, continue to figure out how to balance competing every night defensively, offensively, because obviously with a little bit less of an offensive role, you can apply yourself to defense more. With a little bit more of an offensive role, fatigue becomes a much bigger factor. So I thought, over time, he was learning how to balance all that out. And then by the time we got here, perfectly in stride, was able to take advantage of increased opportunity, increased shots, increased plays being called for him. And so I'm really proud of him in that regard, and that he's been able to do that, because I've seen every bit of the work that he's put in, and it's been a lot.
You talked a lot about when you came here with Mikal, how your perspectives changed. And I brought this up to him. I said, in Phoenix, you were comfortable kind of being co-pilots at the time, and now you come here and you're like, you're running the show. You're the pilots. Yeah. You are willing to shine in that spotlight. Yeah. How important is that? Because that's not just the physical side of the game. That's the mental side.
It's huge. The way I view our time in Phoenix was we really enjoyed being part of what we had and winning, and we were willing to do whatever it takes. And it's the same thing here. We want to win first and foremost, and we're willing to do whatever that takes. So if that means more from us, that means more from us. And that's something that I feel both of us have been working towards, being able to be capable of carrying more of that. So it's a really gratifying and cool process to actually see it come into life and to see him be able to shine in that light. And then I think on top of that, we add this training camp, this preseason, this offseason that we'll be able to spend with our guys and, you know, get used to playing with them and building that team dynamic camaraderie. It's going to be a lot of fun and natural steps in our careers, and I'm excited for it.
Cam, it's amazing. You know, a few years back, you guys are up 2-0 on Milwaukee,
right,
losing the NBA Finals. And now since last February, both yourself and Mikal got traded, Chris Paul got traded, DeAndre Ayton just got traded.
Yep.
Is another reminder just how the NBA, I mean, things happen so quickly. I mean, 1 minute you guys are on the verge of maybe being an NBA champion,
yep,
and now that team is completely different.
Exactly, and that's how it is. They tell you about the business when you get the NBA is a business, it's a business, and you're like, okay, and then, you know, it takes a lot of that for you to see it. So the first time I've had teammates traded was like, wow, like, one of my good friends here one day, not in our locker room the next. And then you just look back over these last couple of years when we played in that series versus Milwaukee, you know, we coming off of that, you lose. You think, okay, I have another crack at it the next year. We had a good regular season, lost in the playoffs. You think again, we have a group of young guys that you can see potentially playing together for a while. So as much as you understand that the business is a business and it can move you around at any point, you know, you would like to believe that the team that you have a chance to win a championship has a chance to, you know, see that through. And however it ends, it ends. But this process just kind of highlights that this league can take you around. You know, you look at everybody on that team, a lot of different jerseys nowadays. Yeah. But it's okay because I feel like a lot of those guys ended up in positions that are even advantageous, and I think this one for me and Mikal, we couldn't ask for anything better.